Well, it's interesting because as you were presenting the topic today for me, and we were kind of like fumbling through trying to figure out exactly where we're going with this, um, and we landed where we're landing. The first thing that comes to mind is, and I actually have never thought about this in this way because honestly, physical health has not been something that floats around in my mind as much, right? I nerd out on a lot of other stuff. It's this is not one that I hang out in a whole lot. So I hadn't thought about it. But everything that I teach, the healing model that I've designed and use and have been using with coaching and counseling clients for years is teaching folks to understand that life experiences, impactful life experiences, and really every experience, it makes an imprint on our life. So like all of life is impactful, and it affects how we define ourselves. It affects what we think is true. It affects what we think we don't like, what we think we do like. It affects, how we feel about just about everything, if not everything. And so when you ask me, you were kind of like fumbling through, like, okay, what are we really talking about here? I'm like, actually, this is the model that I teach. This is the model that I use, and this is why I teach it because you know I always joke around with folks that like our parents taught us, like, go to school, get your education, get a job, have kids, be a parent, live happily ever after. Those are the there's your blueprint for life. And
Mhm.
everybody got older, became an adult, and was like, holy crap, I think there were some pages missing from the book, right? And so in all the work that I do, whether it's organizational consulting or individuals and working with them on either personal or professional goals, there always comes a time where we have to figure out what is the impactful life experience that has deposited a quote unquote truth that usually isn't true, right? Or at least components of it that ultimately is leading to this barrier for you, right? And
Yeah.
so really what this comes down to, we're applying that to say, how does that impact our physical well-being? And so as we were kind of talking about what are potential examples, I like, because at first I was like, okay, tell me more, but I'm like, oh my god, like I can think of so many things. So there's going to be two camps that show up to this conversation. Now the camp who is like me and and is really not prior, it's just physical health's not something they think about a whole lot, may have either tuned out already or never tuned in. Hopefully they'll come around for this because I think it's helpful. And then the other camp is the folks who are really into it. But ultimately, we're going to unpack for you today that these impactful life experiences can either have you potentially be the reason why you're really zoomed in on health, and that could be good, or it could be causing you to take your really prioritization of health too far. And whether you know it or not, it has to do with the thing. And Lane has shared, and I'm sure you'll share today, your example of that. And then or it could be that those experiences, and again, they don't have to be when they say impactful, it doesn't have to be something that stood out. If you think about it, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, they say, right? So we tend to, at minimum, our beliefs and our prioritizations and the stuff we're into oftentimes is related to who we grew up with and what they were into or not, right? So that could be examples of like, um I think about, especially in the Black community, like there's historically we were used as we're here in Black History Month. We were experimenting on. A lot of people know about slavery, but they don't know that one of the many other horrifying things that happened during slavery is that we were used as experiments, basically guinea pigs, right?
Well,
Right.
much,
So they were,
much after that too, and
yeah,
in
and
recent
so
times.
yeah, so like so there's a ongoing distrust that Black folks have with the medical community. And some of that has to do with stuff that happened years and years and years ago, and over the years of the distrust that was passed forth and passed down, if you will. We've got Black folks who won't show up to the doctor today, and so they're not prioritizing their health because somebody had a horrible experience. And so physical health might be a reason, whether you realize it or not, that you're not thinking about your physical health.